Have you ever felt just completely drained? Not because of your own problems, but because you're carrying the weight of someone else's. We often think we're helping by taking on their struggles, but what if that's the very thing that's holding you back? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea. When you finally put down someone else's pain, your entire world can shift. And yeah, we're going to use a surprisingly dark metaphor to show you exactly how. It's kind of a heavy question, but it's such an important one. We've all been there, right? Absorbing a friend's constant drama, shouldering a family member's trauma, trying to fix a partner's struggles. You become their go-to emotional support, but somewhere along the line, their baggage starts to feel like it's your own. There's actually a name for this whole thing. It's called emotional enmeshment. It's when that line between you and them gets so blurry that you honestly can't tell where their feelings end and yours begin. The famous psychologist Carl Jung talked about how our main goal in life is individuation, basically becoming a whole, distinct person. But you can't really do that if you're spending all your energy carrying someone else's stuff. So to really get a grip on this, and to see just how dangerous it can be, we're going to walk through the plot of the horror movie Ouija as this really intense metaphor. We'll look at what it means to carry a ghost, how to fall into the savior's trap, what happens when you ignore the warnings, unleash their demons, and finally, how to burn the bridge to their pain for good. All right, so our story kicks off with grief. A young woman named Laine is just devastated after her best friend Debbie dies tragically. Laine is completely lost, she's confused, and she just refuses to accept it. And this is where she makes her first huge mistake. Instead of processing her own feelings, the sadness, the shock, the loss, Laine's focus shifts completely. She becomes obsessed with this idea that she needs to solve the mystery of Debbie's pain. She makes her friend's emotional baggage her new mission. She's basically deciding to carry her friend's ghost on her own back. And how does she decide to do this? Well, she finds Debbie's old Ouija board, she gets her friends together, believing she can reach across to the other side, get some answers, and somehow fix what happened. This is the classic savior's trap. It's that belief that you have the power to solve a pain that isn't even yours to carry. And you know what? At first, it totally seems like it's working. The group makes contact, and the board spells out a friendly message, "Hi, friends." They all feel this wave of relief, this connection. They're completely convinced they're talking to Debbie, and that their mission to help her is on the right track. This is how enmeshment usually starts. It feels good, like you're actually helping. But yeah, almost right away, the red flags start popping up. After that very first session, really strange and unsettling things start happening to everyone in the group. The connection they opened isn't bringing peace, it's bringing chaos into their own lives. That message that felt so friendly at first, "Hi, friends," it starts appearing everywhere, scrawled on a wall, fogged onto a car window, typed out on a laptop screen. What felt like a comforting connection has now become this creepy, threatening reminder that they've messed with something they really don't understand. But this right here, this is such a classic sign of enmeshment. Instead of seeing the red flags and backing away, what do? They double down. They're convinced they just need to understand what Debbie is trying to tell them, so they go back for another session, determined to fix the problem by digging even deeper into the pain. And that is when the entire floor just drops out from under them. They ask the question directly, "Are you Debbie?" And the planchette slides, without hesitation, to no. This is that horrifying moment of realization. They're not carrying their friend's grief anymore. They've picked up something completely different, something much older and much, much darker. The spirit's name is DZ. And then, you couldn't ask for a clearer warning. The board spells it out, letter by letter. Run. Mother is coming. Even the entity they've contacted is telling them to get out. It's a huge flashing signal that their meddling has gone way too far. But does Laine listen? Nope, of course not. She doubles down again. Laine starts investigating and learns the story of Doris Zander, DZ, a little girl who lived in that house decades ago. Her mother was a medium who used Doris to channel spirits, but when the voices got too intense, the mother literally stitched Doris's lips shut. And just like that, Laine has a new person to save. Believing she's on some kind of righteous quest, Laine tracks down Doris's older sister, Paulina, who's now in a mental institution. And Paulina gives her this neat 3-step plan. Find Doris's hidden body in a secret room, and then cut the stitches from her mouth to free her spirit. In Levine's mind, this all sounds perfectly logical, right? A clear, heroic path to healing another's trauma. And this, right here, is the absolute core lesson of this whole thing. When you try to do the deep psychological work for someone else, you don't heal them. You usually just unleash their demons into your own reality. By cutting those stitches, Levine didn't free a poor, victimized soul. She empowered a malevolent spirit, giving a voice and a terrifying power to the very pain she was trying to fix. And the fallout from this? Oh, it's just catastrophic. Doris's spirit kills Linnane's friend Pete and stitches his mouth shut in this horrifying echo of her own trauma. When Laine confronts Paulina, she finds out she was tricked the whole time. Paulina's goal was never peace. It was to set her evil sister free. Linnane's attempt to fix someone else's pain has only brought a curse down on everyone she loves. Okay, so this brings us to the final act, and really the only solution there is. Levine finally realizes she can't manage the spirit, she can't reason with it, and she definitely can't fix it. The only way out is to sever the connection completely. She has to stop carrying the burden and literally burn the bridge to it. She's desperate, so she goes to her grandmother for wisdom, who gives her this really radical but totally necessary solution. She has to burn Doris's physical body and the Ouija board, the two things that created and sustained this whole toxic connection. She has to completely eliminate the link to the trauma. So, in this huge final struggle, with a little help from her sister and even the spirit of her friend Debbie, Levine manages to get Doris's body and the Ouija board into a furnace. They literally burned the bridge to the toxic baggage they've been carrying. And only then, only when that connection is destroyed, are they finally free. Okay, so let's bring this all back from the spooky movie world into our own lives. What does this actually mean for us? Well, it's all about understanding the difference between healthy support and toxic enmeshment. Healthy support is listening and validating someone's feelings while keeping your own boundaries. Toxic enmeshment is when you try to fix them, you carry their pain, and you end up losing yourself in their story. You can absolutely be a supportive friend without becoming a host for their ghosts. So that leaves us with one last and maybe the most important question to ask ourselves. What is the emotional Ouija board in your life? What toxic connection, what burden you've been carrying for someone else do you need to finally burn so that you can be free to get back to your own journey?